Today on Dylan Talks Tone, we're going to put Fishman Gristle pickups in this here Telecaster. Then we're going to give them a sound test, and then we're going to give them a D-score and tell you, should you buy them or not? All right, so today's project is going to be kind of fun. I'm not really doing repairs anymore, but I was kind of excited about this one, so I took on the job. This is your Fender road-worn Telecaster. So it's, you know, the made in Mexico, got a little relicing going on. Nitro finish, really nice. I was playing it a little bit last night. Super fun, kind of a fun guitar. But here's why he brought it to me. The Fishman Fluence Gristle pickups. Now there's some really interesting things about these, and I know that many people have done videos about them, but I kind of wanted to dive in a little bit and see what was going on with these things. We're going to put them in the guitar, and then we're going to take them for a test drive, obviously. But let's look at them. Now, you remember I did a video where we took one of their single coils and we cut it in half to see how the construction worked and how. But this thing has some pretty interesting stuff. So let's dive into some of the features of it. I think there's a reason why they cost so much, to tell you the truth, but let's just check it out. First of all, notice right away that it's got staggered pull pieces, higher D string, which is interesting. Okay, so we've got that Telecaster pickup. Here is the interesting control plate. So we've got our tone, volume, three-way switch, okay? And we've got this little button in the middle. And this is his like black guard, white guard switch, basically, is what that is. 50s versus 60s. Now, here's something really interesting. When I first pulled this out of the box, I thought, that looks like one of those cheap Chinese switches, but it actually isn't. So it actually has a proper Oak Grigsby quality switch that you would have in a normal Fender Telecaster, like a custom shop Telecaster. So this is the same switch we use in all of our custom guitars and all of our kits. So it was a good switch. And then there's a circuit board in here, goes on the back of the pots, I would imagine. But this square is actually the battery. So it's like a cell phone battery. Back in my days of repairing cell phones, if you take apart a cell phone battery, one of the single cells that's what that looks like. So that's kind of interesting. So the thing probably runs on 5 volts, I would think, but I'm not sure. And then this is where we would solder our pickup leads. So normally you solder your neck pickup here and your bridge pickup here, but on this guitar, they have this quick and easy little dude right here where you solder your pickup leads, which is pretty interesting. Now, the only thing about this, and we'll get into this when we install these, we want to talk about how to do this properly because you don't want to ruin this little circuit board, because you could ruin that if you overheat it or you ruin it. So we'll get into that when we install it. So that's that dude. Let's look at the pickups. So this is basically your regular Telecaster pickup, but in the version of the Fluence. And if you watch our other video, we'll link it up here. You'll see what this looks like on the inside. It's basically the same, just a little different. Sorry, I know that sounds brilliant, but it is. And the bridge, you notice these are Alnico pickups, or Alnico magnets going through those printed coils, those printed circuit board coils, coming all the way through. And we do have a copper plated steel base plate on the bottom, like a normal traditional Tele pickup. It's interesting that they make the magnets stick out through the bottom of this, which on a normal Telecaster pickup, that doesn't happen. They actually just sit on the top, which I think is kind of interesting. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Now this is also very interesting. This is the supplied output jack for the setup. So this has your normal 1/4 inch in or out for your guitar cable. And then there's also a micro USB port that charges the battery for the whole setup. They don't call them active pickups, they call them like powered pickups or something. So anyway, there's that. And then of course you have the USB cable to charge it and some hardware. So I guess what we need to do is let's go ahead and we're gonna switch to Super Hat Cam, and we're going to do a quick install of these inside on the bench. Okay, so probably the first thing we should do is put this here output jack in. Just like it's supposed to. Oh, and it is long enough. It was almost looking like maybe it wasn't. Okay. Now this is a Blackguard style guitar, so it has the direct mounted neck pickup. And in the Fishman kit, it does include the correct stuff for that. So that's pretty cool. I was wondering about that. All right, neck pickup is in. Height is not set, so we will have to do that after strings are on and such. Okay, so one thing I found in the directions of this deal is that there's supposed to be a ground from the bridge to one of these terminals on the control plate. This guitar does not have a ground wire that's routed. You know, usually there could be sometimes there's a hole where you can put the wire in. So basically, I just ran my own ground wire and I just have it held down with a piece of shielding tape just so that it will hold itself there until we screw the bridge in. Conductive adhesive, blah, 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 it'll work perfect. So anyway, that is one thing that's not necessarily in the kit that you might have to do. And I think it's grounded through the base plate anyway, but since the directions said it and I didn't want to take it back apart again, I thought, well, we're just gonna do it like that from the beginning. So we've got these other two wires in here. Let's get those out of the way so we don't burn them. Our soldering iron's nice and hot. Our solder tip is clean. And we're just gonna touch this just enough to get a good joint. That is it. Don't want to spend a lot of time on there because you don't want to burn those traces. All right, so it goes ground signal, ground signal. These wires are pre-tinned, so they should be easy to solder. I'm gonna go super fast. Ground. Everything's pre-stripped too, so that's cool. All right, ground, bridge pickup, so it's ground signal, neck pickup, ground signal. And then we plug in the power portion of this whole deal. With the Molex connector, we drop the whole dude in the guitar. I would definitely say that if you have a Squire that you want to put these in, it's possible that you're going to need to make sure that the inside of the guitar is routed big enough, because some Squires have small cavities or the bump in the middle. So there's your install. I haven't put the knobs on yet. The pickup height is adjusted before you put the pick guard on, so I'm going to go ahead. The client also wanted me to swap out these saddles, so I'm going to go ahead and set the guitar up, test everything and make sure it's cool, set the pickup height, then put the pick guard back on, and then we'll give this thing a test drive. Well, I guess it is time to give the old Fishman Fluence Gristletone Tele Pickups a D-score. So category number 1 is ease of use. And I think we're gonna give this a 2. The reason we're giving it a 2 out of 5 is because installation. Right in the packaging it says, have them professionally installed. Now everything says that usually. The problem is that if you saw when we did it, there's these tiny little solder traces that if you do not have good soldering skills, there is a risk that you could mess that little thing up. So I would say, unless you feel real comfortable with your own soldering skills, to have somebody that is a professional person who knows how to solder properly, do that. Because if you mess up those little traces on that little circuit board, they'd be tough to fix. They'd be tough to fix. For features, we're gonna give it a 4 out of 5. They're noiseless, 3-way switch, the cool battery, the way it charges up and you don't have to actually put a battery in it, no 9-volt. This whole dark versus bright or 50s versus 60s kind of tone shift thing is pretty sweet. The pots are really nice. The switch is a proper Oak Grigsby switch, properly good. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5 is because it's a micro USB port. And I feel like at some point, people are gonna have to use USB-C. Micro USB ports can be notoriously unreliable after a period of time. So that'd be my only little caution, is be real careful with that over time. Value for money, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It's amazing. The only reason it's not a 5 out of 5 is because they're kind of expensive. But for what you get, so they might not be attainable for everybody, but for what you get, they're really, really cool. Build quality, we're gonna go 4 out of 5 again. Fishman makes fantastic stuff. The packaging is great, the parts are great, all of the parts are high quality. My only gripe with it would be that micro USB port, again, taken away from the overall quality. However, the build quality is fantastic. And then the only other little thing I would say is that little thing in the directions about having a ground and not knowing what to do with that if you did not have a ground in your guitar already. A little vagueness in the directions there, I would say fix that. And you would be, this thing, they're awesome. And overall D factor, you know, how cool these things are, I would say 3 out of 5. And here's why I would say. Because they are way cooler than vintage tone snobs are gonna give them credit for. And most people are gonna say, because they're not real, or whatever, you know, however you say that. However, they are super cool. And if you know what you want, these are very, very cool. If I didn't make my own pickups, I would have these in my personal telly. They're super quiet. They sound great. And they do everything that they say on the tin. Like the tone shift thing is super cool. I don't know. They are very, 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 very cool. So should you buy them? I don't see why not. I don't care what kind of player you are, I don't see why you wouldn't buy these unless you really like noisy pickups, which I kind of actually like that a little bit. They lack a little bit of the crispy clarity on top that some other conventional pickups lack. However, they are very versatile. If you can afford them, and if you can have somebody install them, or if you're capable of installing them yourself, I think you should try them. They are very, very cool. And these have been something that I've been skeptical about for a long time. You know that when we did our other video about Fishmans, I was like, nah, I just really don't care so much about kinda active pickups. But I stand corrected on both counts. Those Fishmans and these ones, they're very, very cool. So that gives us a total D factor of 17 out of 25. These are very cool. And this is a great guitar too. Really cool guitar. It's a road-worn Mexican thing. It's really super fun. I've been playing it all day since I got it done. It's really, really good. Make sure you go to dylancontest.com and enter to win the Les Paul. We're giving it away this month, January 2021. Make sure you also check out Patreon and you check out the member area down below, because I've been uploading content every day. So, and as you probably saw last Friday, we're trying to share a little bit more every day, some of the behind the scenes stuff on the channel. So hopefully you dig that vlog thing. If you've been paying attention, you knew this video was coming. So pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out, and I guess we'll see you on Thursday.